Welcome, everyone. I'm Dick Deming. I'm Medical Director of MercyOne Cancer Center and the founder of Above and Beyond Cancer. Welcome to our weekly cancer education series. It's brought to you in part from a grant from the Rosalie and Sherry Exline Ziegler Fund. Thanks for joining us. And my guest this evening is April Wyett. Welcome, April.
Hello. Thank you for having me
Greetings.
here.
You are welcome. Thank you for being here. April grew up in the Pacific Northwest and spent some time in California, but last 13 years, she's lived here in Iowa, and she is a practitioner of Reiki and also other energy healing arts. And we're going to talk about that tonight and the role that Reiki and other energy healing arts can play in improving wellness and health in individuals. So, first of all, tell us a little bit about growing up. You grew up on the Pacific Coast, and what was your claim to fame in high school?
Well, first of all, growing up in the Pacific Northwest on Whidbey Island, which I think you're familiar with, growing up there, we all called it the Rock because it was very isolated. And I couldn't wait to leave. So
And
during
so
high school,
to get to
I ran
Whidbey,
track.
refresh my memory. You have to take a ferry, or is there a bridge that gets you to Whidbey Island?
Both. On the
Okay.
south end of the island is a ferry, the Mukilteo Ferry,
Okay.
which takes you to Everett or down near Seattle area. So you can get to the island that way, or you can drive north up I-5 to the 20 and then hit it at Anacortes with Deception Pass Bridge, which is amazingly beautiful. If anybody has a chance to check it out, now that I'm older, I appreciate the island and all the beauty it holds there.
When you think on your path through life, how has your path and maybe your interest in the healing arts been affected by the ocean or by having grown up on Whidbey Island?
Oh, most definitely. Growing up, we lived in the woods, literally. Could not see any other houses from our house. And that's where my playground was the woods, and just having that really deep connection to the forest, the animals, and then of course driving on and off the island, seeing the water. That's also what was lovely about living in San Diego, is being close to the water. And now we're parked in Galveston, so right across the street is the ocean, is the shore there. So it's nice to be around water. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us from Texas. And one of the reasons that April is a guest of ours is that she actually does Reiki for us at Above and Beyond Cancer. And for those who don't know the term Reiki, tell us a bit about what is Reiki, and then how does one get certified in becoming a Reiki practitioner?
Okay. That's a great question. So Reiki was founded in Japan over 100 years ago by Usui. I say Usui Sensei, but Mikao Usui. And it is to promote well-being. So it works with the mind, the body, and your emotional state as well. And it really evokes a very relaxed state of being. And for those who are interested in becoming a practitioner, which I've certified numerous students, it is an intensive weekend training that evolves just having an open mind of wanting to have something more, a support for yourself, and offer that same to others. So a lot of people I've had attend for their own personal use, for their own mental balance, to support them. It's like an anchor of support, Reiki is. And then I've also had the opportunity and pleasure of supporting other professionals. So, chiropractors, therapists, body workers, other people that are looking to help support their own clients and their family members as well. And
Yeah, I'm aware of nurses and oncology nurses becoming certified in Reiki. Tell us a little bit about. So, did you have Reiki performed on you that you found it to be beneficial, and that's what prompted you to get training, or how did you first learn of Reiki, and what have before you became a teacher, just when you were being seeing someone, what were the benefits that you were looking for, and what were the benefits you derived of having a Reiki practitioner work with you?
that's a that's really a good question because that kind of leads into how I discovered or how Reiki was introduced to me. So um, I moved a lot with my husband and had a lot of things happening in my life. And so I was looking for something to uh, build a foundation off for support for myself. And so somebody recommended to me Reiki. So I did have a session, and during that session, and I hear a lot of my clients say this: you just can't explain it. It's a deeper sense of calmness, peacefulness. And afterwards, I just felt more open and vibrant, a deeper aliveness within me. So as soon as I felt that, I thought, other people need to know this. Other people need to be introduced to this. This shouldn't be something that's hidden. And that's why I'm here today to share about Reiki. I
So,
hope
April,
I answered all those
maybe
questions.
just I'm sorry, maybe describe a little bit more in detail the first time you had Reiki performed on you. W- Are you sitting? Are you lying? Are you
Oh, okay. What does that
dressed?
look
Are
like?
you in a robe? Are you in a dark room? What's the situation, and what actually happens when you were there?
Okay, yes. So breaking it down to the practice itself. So what Reiki is it's a fully clothed practice, and you can be seated in a chair or you can be lying on a massage table. And usually it is in a very quiet space. When I support somebody with Reiki, I really don't talk. I just allow for that space and time to be theirs. And so in that moment, then it allows the person to, again, have that pause, have that deeper connection with themselves, because most of the time we're constantly thinking about things or we're on to the next thing even before we get done with what we're doing. So it invites that peacefulness, that pause, and really helps to evoke a feeling of safety and support. And it's a beautiful, gentle practice.
So, April, take us back to your first time going in and having a Reiki session on
Yes.
yourself. Can you remember
Oh, yes.
your trepidation, what you were thinking when you went in? What exactly how your practitioner did your practitioner speak or not speak? How did you know what to think about or what to experience? I mean, I would imagine going in, I'd be wondering, gosh, what's going to happen? Is somebody going to touch me? Am I going to be uh, uh, thinking or hallucinating, or am I just going to fall asleep? Take us back to your time as a patient, or as a someone who's receiving the benefits of Reiki, and maybe talk us through what you experienced that day.
Well, I'm a lifelong learner, so I was very curious about it to begin with. I really didn't feel any intrepidations or anything of that. I'm more of, let's just see, let's see what happens. I'm just curious about this. So I met with the practitioner, and she explained to me that basically I would be in a lying position, I would be fully clothed, and she would just use her own guidance on where to place her hands. And she asked me, and this is what I ask my clients too, is, are you sensitive to touch? Is it okay to just have a very light touch upon your body? And most people are fine with that. And if not, then just holding it a little higher above the body, the hands, uh, because Reiki works with universal life force energy. And so being a practitioner, then you're connected to that source energy, being the bridge and allowing that energy to flow through. So as I was lying there in a wasn't dark, but it was, dimly lit space, just to evoke that sense of calmness and peace. She worked from the top of my head all the way down to my feet, and then went back to certain places where she felt that needed a little bit extra support. And then afterwards, she brought me back by just to calm, take a deep breath in and feel your body on the table, and then gently opening your eyes and just witnessing what feels a little different there. And afterwards, again, it was just a very light feeling, and I felt very relaxed yet open and more energized. But everybody's experience is different.
Yeah,
And I
that's why I was interested really in your experience, because obviously it was positive enough that you wanted to get trained. When you had your first session, did the practitioner actually physically touch you?
Yes.
And were you instructed to, what were you instructed to do with your mind when you had your first? I mean, I would imagine I'd be wondering where they're touching me and what I'm supposed to be
Uh-huh.
feeling. And um, what were you feeling as the session went on?
I I to be honest with you, I don't remember exactly what she said to me, although what I share with my clients is, focus on your breath, or I play soft music in the background,
Hmm.
focus on the music. And if it helps to hold a mantra in your mind of, I am here to release, or even repeating Reiki, Reiki, Reiki over in your
Hmm.
mind, tends to
So,
help, because, yeah, we have that monkey mind, and it's kind of wondering what's going on and gets a little distracted with things.
so it sounds a little bit like you're doing meditation while someone is touching you.
Somewhat, yeah. hmm
Okay.
That's
Do
a
you
good
think
explanation. I like
do you
that.
do you think that any human being on earth can serve as that conduit to bring the healing energy in? And maybe another question is, where does the healing energy come from if it goes from the practitioner touching you to you? Is the practitioner a necessary part of the Reiki, or can you do Reiki on yourself?
Yes, I love all these questions. So going back to your first question, uh, what was the first question? you, you
My first
compound
question is,
questions.
yeah, can any human being, do we all have the essential
Yes.
essence and talent to become a Reiki practitioner, or is
Yes.
there something special about a Reiki practitioner that's different from the general population?
So everyone has the ability, and Reiki is just another name for a healing modality. So
Hmm.
there's so many things out there to
Does
support
yeah,
people.
does it fall into what you would call energy work?
Yes.
And what is the source of the energy? Is the Reiki practitioner generating the energy, or is it coming from somewhere else, or is the energy coming from within the person being worked on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Ray is life force, key is energy. So it's connecting to that life force energy that we all have access to. And so if people want to think of it as Christ consciousness energy or whatever higher power you believe in that you connect to, maybe it's Gaia, maybe it's universe. Just knowing that we all have that connection to that source energy. So becoming a practitioner then is it kind of streamlines that energy a little bit easier, a little bit quicker when you uh, receive the training. Otherwise, people have natural healing abilities, as everybody's heard of, like laying of hands, right? And so that way we know that our energies are, healing. We can help other people heal. We can support each other because really we're all connected, right? We're all energy and we're all connected.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly experience. We all experience that the healing power of touch, whether it is a hug from a loved one, or certainly in my practice as a physician, without the intention of using any energy, even just calmly laying my hand on someone's back or with someone's shoulder as I'm talking to them. It generates, yeah, healing. And
Yes.
even without knowing, theoretically where that's coming from, there's something about the human touch that is healing. And I would say that it probably works in both directions. So
Mhm.
I would imagine that as a practitioner of Reiki, that you receive some healing benefit even as you're doing a session with someone.
Yes, that is the case. As I provide, as I give, I also receive. So that's the beauty. That's another reason why I so enjoy Reiki is because, for example, let's say a body worker, a massage therapist, they're really physically moving. They're feeling into that other person's body. They're manipulating it. They're moving that energy, right? That tension. And afterwards, maybe after the day, they're exhausted because of all that physical moving things. Although with Reiki, I'm even more energized after
Mhm.
having consecutive sessions because I'm allowing that to flow. And um, I know that it's not me, that I'm not the person fixing my client. And when I come from that space, then I just allow that to flow through and know that they're receiving exactly what's needed at that given time.
Right. It's not a matter of curing or fixing. It's just providing healing. And so when you describe that the training, I think I heard you say it's just a weekend of training that someone can become trained in a weekend.
Yes,
That
but
seems like
it's a little
not
deeper than that though, because it's more of a spiritual journey. So it's more of the person wanting this for themselves. It's not, oh, I'm going to be a Reiki practitioner so I can, support these people. It's more of this is a deeper dive into myself and understanding that I am bringing forward a healing modality to support others.
so most people who do the weekend course have probably spent some years as seekers of wisdom and probably have done meditation and have an understanding for the healing arts.
Not necessarily. I've had people that just have had a calling that they
Mhm,
saw that or somebody shared it with them and they just felt like a deep calling of, okay, I need to take this is something
mhm.
because I'm very intentional, such as my business name, Living with Intention, and what I'm offering. So I give a very specific email and I give more information, and it's just not, oh, click on this and, get this training. It's far more than that.
Do you think everyone is open to receiving the benefits? And then let me just give an example. So, I know that there's hypnosis that is one form of healing, sometimes used for smoking cessation, and others. And I've heard it said, and I'm not positive that this is true, that some people just can't be hypnotized, and other people can. And do you think that uh, people who are skeptical of energy work have the ability to feel a positive experience from a Reiki session? Or are there some people that are skeptical and suspicious that that doesn't work for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've had actually people show up to sessions, their first session, and they were skeptical. They were kind of questioning, how is this going to work? Uh, but just sitting down with them and talking with them. And then once they get on the table and they allow themselves, as long as they're open and curious to it, then they will receive. But Reiki also acknowledges free will. So if somebody during a session decides, oh, this isn't something I want, then they will not receive it. And that's fine too. It's just about the person being open and willing to just explore, that curiosity.
And what would you say are some of the scientific fundamentals or the scientific basis for how Reiki can be therapeutic?
Yes. So I love science as well. In fact, I went to Drake, and my favorite class was the health psychology class, and talking about the sympathetic nervous system, and that's the fight, flight, or freeze. And when we're in that state, that's that overdrive in the mind. The mind is basically running the bus there. And when we have that approach of curiosity, of, oh, I wonder how this will work, or just inviting a different perspective in, and being able to switch off that sympathetic nervous system, that overdrive, the anxiety, the stress, which isn't easy. It's not easy, but just inviting in that curiosity. Then we shift into the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's the rest and digest. That's where the body naturally heals. And that's what Reiki evokes. So when we allow ourselves to be in a state of presence the best we can, because it can be challenging, right? And just being open to receive, then we're in that parasympathetic nervous system. And that's where the healing, your own body switches that on for healing. And the Reiki helps to keep that going a little bit further.
Right. And as you describe that, I think of the benefits again of meditation or mindfulness, or even the benefits of massage, and
Mhm.
kind of wonder, can you can you get even more benefit by doing all of those things in a given day, or is there a limit to how much healing touch and mindfulness? Do you ever reach sort of a plateau of the benefits? Do you think you get more benefits by doing it once a week rather than 5 times a day? Um, is there been any study that looks at what's the optimal frequency in which one subjects themselves
Mm.
to a session of Reiki?
Yeah, that's also another good question. I think it really has to do with the person, because I've had clients come in, and after their Reiki session, then they go to a massage session, and then later on, they'll they say, and tonight is sound healing with Deb Jennings at Unity, and so it's just really the person and what they're open to and how they are relating with themselves and being with those energies exchanges. Yeah.
Yeah, you just mentioned healing sound, another form of healing energy. Um, Besides the ones that we've already mentioned, so Reiki, healing touch, massage, mindfulness, meditation, healing sound. What are some other healing practices that involve energy?
Yeah, oh wow, there's so many out there. I know that there's access bars, so that works with the cranium and certain pressure points on there. There is the sound healing. Actually, I use Tibetan bowls and use that around the person's body to help just balance the energies at frequencies. It's like a cellular massage. It's pretty nice. And let's see here, other energy work. Well, I also offer bioenergetic with, sorry, I offer breath work through BBTRS, so bio dynamic breath work and trauma release systems. So it's really about working with the energies in the body with the breath. And again, with the mind, we have an experience. This is how the bioenergetic breath work works. So we have an experience, and being that we are wonderful humans and we have this container that holds everything for us, if we don't release those tensions, if we don't let them go or find ways to just allow that to release, I like to say, well, I used to say like a pressure cooker, but now it's an Instant Pot, right? It has that quick release little button. And so if you're able to release those tensions in your body, then you can breathe easier, right? Then your mind is a little bit more clear. And it's just fascinating to me how the energy of the breath even supports the body and helps to release things organically in your body.
In April, what would you say are some of the benefits for cancer patients, whether they're actively undergoing cancer treatment with chemotherapy and radiation, or they're through their cancer treatment and are cancer survivors? What are some of the benefits that cancer patients or cancer survivors might experience as a result of going through Reiki?
Oh, the benefits is definitely the continuum of their healing process, because our bodies are like filters, right? And when we're different in different environments, different food, different people, right? We have these filters, and it's nice to get them cleaned out. So Reiki is a very gentle way. It's non-invasive, and it just brings that balance back to the mind and the body and emotional states. So I suggest Reiki for those cancer patients or people that are just getting over the chemo and things, because it's so gentle and it's so supportive over the biodynamic breath work. Biodynamic breath work is more of they're on their way, and they've been in remission for a while, and they're willing to go just a little deeper into those spaces within themselves.
Okay. We have a large studio audience here that's live, and we also have many people that are watching us. I think I'm going to open it up to questions because I have a feeling that we've got a lot of questions for April about Reiki or about energy therapy. Poon.
Looks like you're in a bedroom.
I am. You are so observant.
I thought that was a Reiki studio.
This is my house. I'm in an RV.
Oh, that's your RV. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's a nice RV. That's a king size bed.
it is.
So
Very observant.
I was going to ask if you can do it before going to bed because there was a bed in the background. But when you're talking about
would it help with
energy,
sleep? Is that what?
yes, does it? Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Does it help with sleep? And when you wake up with the monkey mind, does it
Mm,
help getting back to sleep?
yes, most definitely. It Reiki is a wonderful resource, and you can even, without even having the training, you can even retrain the mind. That's the beauty of the mind, right? The neuroplasticity. And so when we wake up at, what is it, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that, it seems like that,
Yes,
boom, right?
right.
And just taking a breath. And I like to focus on my pillow, just focus on how comfortable it is, and remind myself that I'm safe, I'm supported, and that these thoughts are just information coming in. And there's nothing that I need to do about them right now. And just do your best at taking some deep breathing, breathing in maybe for a count of 5, breathing out for a count of 7. And just like they say, counting sheep, right? You can count your breaths. It takes practice. It takes practice, although it does work. Thank you, Poon, for that question.
Hello, April. I saw the bed in the background. I had a question that's following up on this.
Yes.
So if so
Who am
if
I
I go
speaking to? Who is this?
uh, I am Poon's husband, Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Yeah.
Hello, Tim.
Hi. So if I attend one of your sessions and you start working on me, am I in a seated position, standing position, or a lying position? And if it's positional, is there a best position where Reiki will give me the best benefit?
Ah, great question. It could be seated, preferably seated. It can be actually any. You could be standing, you could be seated, you could be lying down, you could be seated on the floor. The most preference is lying down on like a massage table to where the client's body, your body would be easily accessible from all areas. Mm-hmm.
So lying on your back.
Yes. Or
Mhm.
some people that have had back surgery or have had issues, they have lied face down because I have a face cradle, like a massage,
Mhm.
right? So it depends on your physicality. It depends on what you prefer. Oh,
And
Lee asked, what's the average cost? So it depends. It depends. Like if you were to ask in California, is this an hour session? Is this a 30-minute session compared to Iowa or what have you? For my session for an hour, it is $80. Although I offer packages, and because it's a continuum, it's not a one and done type of session. This is about you making commitment to yourself and promoting your own well-being. So that's why I offer packages for. Although I do have the free with Above and Beyond Cancer, right, for you to try out. And that's the first Thursday of each month.
April, do you still go to a Reiki practitioner?
Good question. Yes, I do when I'm in Des Moines.
Uh-huh.
I haven't found one over here because I've been walking on the beach
So
and
if you're in Des Moines,
supporting myself.
how frequently do you go to a practitioner?
I would say I would go maybe quarterly or once a month. It just depends on myself.
Mhm.
Although, Dr. Deming, every morning I do a meditation, which involves Reiki. So I'm able to support myself with Reiki So that way I feel a lot more balanced and open and receptive. Yeah. That's a commitment to myself that I do every morning for at least an hour, depending on my monkey mind, right? And
Yes, exactly. Right. It's getting that habit, getting the habit. You know, we're all pretty good about learning how to brush our teeth and continuing that habit throughout our life, but we're not as good about some other healthy habits. We could
yeah,
all
and
be.
that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up because I ask uh, the my students also, like, if we know that this is amazing and this is wonderful for us, whatever it is, whatever healthy habit, right?
Mhm.
Why is it so challenging?
Yeah.
And what I've discovered for myself and for what they've responded is that the mind is so distracting, right? It's better to be over here and supporting other people, or I'm too busy, I have to get this
Mhm.
done, and we don't put ourselves first. And it seems like there's a little bit of selfishness attached to that, but I'm pretty selfish then, because that's very important for me to set that for myself, because I can feel it throughout the day. I can feel if I my mind rushed my meditation and said, okay, we only have so much time because we're going to do this or what have you. And I don't allow myself to just kind of drop in just for a few minutes. And then I feel that scatteredness, I feel that rushness, and I feel that in my body. So it's really important for people to be aware of where their mind is, and then just be curious of how that mind and the body connection, how that's happening with that sympathetic nervous system that we talked about before.
Great. We got some other questions.
Good.
One more before.
Okay, Boone has another one, and then Angelina.
I wish I could see
Um,
Pooh. She sounds like a lovely person.
She is a lovely person
Thank you.
with insightful questions.
So, April, the Above and Beyond Cancer class you teach on Thursdays at noon, right?
Oh, those are in the evening at
Oh,
7
okay.
p.m. Central Standard Time. That's the virtual session.
All
And then I
right.
believe that there's somebody that offers an in-person.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So, I was going to ask you for the virtual session, how do you do the touch? Because you talked about the touch.
Oh, you are so smart, Poon. Yes. And that's a question people ask. How does this happen virtually? If we're not in person, if you're not in the same room, how can this even happen? And so I want everybody to take a look at this, right? What is that? It's a cell phone, right? Everybody's got one. And the thing is in order for a cell phone to work, we need a cell phone tower, right? What do cell phone towers do? They emit the frequency, the energy for you to receive the call. And we don't even question that we pick up this plastic thing and can talk to somebody, right? Hear their voice. That's the energy. So Reiki's the same thing as that cell phone tower. As long as you're open and receptive to receiving it, you are receiving it, because it's a transference of energy, just as I'm here with you now. Or if you're listening to this in recording, right? You're still seeing me, you're still hearing me, and you can sense my presence. And that's what energy is all about. So even if we're not in the same room, even around the world, I've supported people. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, your answer makes me then come back to what's the difference between being with someone who's helping you meditate versus Reiki if it doesn't actually require physical touch.
Mm. Yeah, it's the same energy, right?
Whether you touch someone or not.
Correct. And I think it's the human connection that
Mhm.
they want the touch. They want tangible. The mind says it can't be real unless I feel it.
Right. So I wonder if have you ever been part of a study where you see is the effectiveness of being in the room with someone and actually touching them the same as doing it virtually over the phone? Are they exactly the same in terms of the amount of healing benefit the patient receives, or is there one superior to the other?
Well, again, it depends on the person's preference. And as long as they're open to receiving it virtually, then they will receive. And my clients, since I moved from Des Moines, literally sold our house, and now we're full-time RVers, I have one-on-one sessions virtually, and they respond with the same results. So I would love to be part of a study, Dr. Deming, if that's
Yeah,
something you're
let's
open
do
to.
one.
I would love
Yeah,
it.
I think we should do that. We have another question
Oh.
here. This is Angelina.
Hi, I'm Angelina, and we mentioned that I'm originally from Arizona. So, visiting Sedona, all that. So I was acquainted with a lot of that spiritual energy. So my friend, my brother was a massage therapist. He recommended a friend of his because he goes, "Well, I can give you a massage." No, I'm not letting my brother give me a massage. No, and he recommended it. And he goes, "But I don't know if you're open to her doing Reiki." And I go, "What's that?" So I was intrigued, and so when I went there, she explained to me what it was, and she wasn't going to be touching me before she did the massage. She was going to do Reiki. And she goes, "You can close your eyes, take deep breaths." And I could swear I could feel the energy just shifting back and forth. It was so great. And as she was doing that, I was seeing colors. And so even when she was doing the massages, and so I knew when she was almost done because the green meant healing. And for me, purple meant she's reached that plateau of being done. And she's, "That's interesting that you can see colors. Are you an artist?" I go, "Actually, yeah, I do drawing. I do painting." And she goes, she just picked that up on me. And she goes, "I think that's why you made that connection with that energy." And I said, so, because at first I thought, "Oh, this is going to be interesting." And she goes, "It's up to me." And I said, whether she was going to do a massage, but that's how she did the Reiki. And it was really great. I loved it.
Oh, what a
So
beautiful experience.
has anybody described how it feels after they've done a Reiki with
Oh,
you? Or?
yes, the same. And it depends on the person. Just as Dr. Deming said in the very beginning, I have people fall asleep. My husband falls asleep. He's snoring away when I give him Reiki. It just puts him in a deeper state. And then other people are like you, and they can see colors, or they feel the sensations. And then some people just are aware of what's happening around them, but then they feel a lightness. So it depends on the person, depends on how comfortable. I've also worked remotely with a gentleman that is a professor up at ISU, and he was a little skeptical because somebody referred him. And after the third or second session, he was able to just allow himself to let go, allow his mind to let go and to receive. And then that's when he was able to have some, I would say, experiences. But it doesn't happen to everyone. I want everybody to hear that. It's because people will then start comparing. Well, what happened? How come I didn't see any colors? Where's my rainbow? Or, that type of thing. And by just allowing them to receive it and be open to the experience, that's enough. And since it's working on an energetic level, it's working on a deeper level. So sometimes people don't even feel it. And then afterwards, they'll check in. I check in with my clients a day or two later, and they'll say, "Wow, I had this migraine. I didn't share with you. I had a migraine for the last couple of days. And then I felt it kind of build during the session. And then all of a sudden it just dissipated and it hasn't been back." So it's just all that tension that we hold in our bodies and where it's being held. And Reiki is a beautiful way to support those areas. And you don't have to know how. That's the thing, right? You don't have to know how. Just show up.
Right. Other questions? Here we go. This is Beth, right? Beth has a question for you.
Hello,
Hi,
Beth.
April. Hello. I have heard you say it several times, as long as they are open to receiving it. I'm wondering what your advice, a word, a sentence, to someone who we love who may not be open to it. Like, I'm here and I'm so open to it, but people that I love may not be. I'm wondering if you have a word of advice.
Yes. So I've had so many people call me and want to buy sessions for somebody who's going through a hard time. And I have to be honest with them and say that person needs to be open to it, right? It's like leading a horse to water and you can't make him drink kind of thing. If they are open to just being curious about it, how could this possibly support me? You know, those kind of questions, then they are open to it. And so really not comparing where they're at, because that's what we want to do. We want them like, come over here. This is great, right? This will help you. But honoring where they're at and knowing that that's part of their journey too.
Yeah, that's a good question you asked. You know, I would think of things like telling people that are skeptical, well, give it a try. I can guarantee you there's no bad side effect. There's
Yes.
not going to be any harmful side effect. I'm going to pay for it, so there's not going to be a financial toxicity. And the worst that can happen is that you will consider that you wasted an hour of your life. But even in the wasting of an hour of your life, you might have your curiosity fulfilled, or you might, you know, you might have a good story to tell at the next cocktail hour, even if it is making fun of what you went through. But that, there's no harmful side effect that's going to happen. And you'd be doing me a favor by just learning if it might be something that would be beneficial. I think that would be the way I would talk someone into doing it. Is I'm gonna cover the expense. I know the person. I know that it can be just very calming, and that I know nothing bad is going to happen.
Yeah, and as long as they're open and they say, "Oh, okay," then yeah, I'll try it. But if you have to convince them or keep talking about it,
Yes.
just plant that seed. I call it planting seeds. Yeah, of a possibility.
Okay. Other questions? Any questions left online, George? Yeah. Well, April, this has been wonderful, and you're going to be back in town this summer, right? Doing some in-person Reiki through Above and Beyond Cancer, and in the past, that's happened both at the downtown YMCA, Wellmark YMCA downtown, and also I know you've done it in the Rose Garden out behind the Art Center,
Beautiful
so it can be
setting.
done
Yeah.
indoors or outdoors. So thank you so much. If someone wanted to be in touch with you, George, do we have the contact information?
Let's livingwithintention.co is my website. And then
There
my
we go.
email is april@livingwithintention.co.
Okay, livingwithintention.co. Well, thank you, April. I've enjoyed this, and thanks
Yeah.
everyone that has participated this evening. If you know someone that would benefit by listening to this podcast or watching the video podcast, this presentation has been recorded tonight and will be available on demand at the Above and Beyond Cancer YouTube channel and at the Mercy Cancer Center website. So your friends can watch it again. And please come and join us again next week at our weekly cancer education series. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.